Now it's 11. All right. So let's go to asset creation. And there were a few questions like on glass and that stuff and modular assets. Lots of assets, a bunch of rocks and all that. And the quick answer to this one, creating lots of similar assets, is to me is like learn Houdini. And I'm actually gonna, even though I'm trying not to be like super as little, software specific as possible. Still, I have to. I'm gonna be honest with you, and uh, and to me, and like with everything, pretty much, this is purely my opinion. But to me, um the only softwares that make sense right now, might miss something, but on 3D content creation part would be like Blender, Houdini, um, ZBrush. I don't know if Mudbox is around still. Some sculpting software, of course, maybe 3D Code, but for the main, like I used actually started on 3D Studio DOS, the old version in '93, and it was cool. And 3ds Max came out, I don't know, like in '97 or something like '98 maybe, and it was really cool. You could do like interactive deformations and all that, and they solved kind of some of the issues of the first generation of softwares. But today, and I mean Maya came out in '99 or something, I think. Same there. And I used Maya I used 3D Studio Max for maybe 5 years, and I then switched to Maya and used that for a couple of years, a lot of years, maybe 7 years. Written like hundreds of Mel scripts and used it for rigging and all that. Um, but today, I mean, 20 years later, it's still the same core software. And in my opinion, the reason for that is that the Autodesk is a company driven by like marketing people, and while Houdini and ZBrush is driven by the actual engineers that make the software. So, and that's a big difference because in Autodesk software, anything that would take, they changed a couple of years ago the product cycle to 12 months, 1 year, because they want to name them like, yeah, 3ds Max 2020 or whatever. And because of that, nothing that would take more than 12 months to develop will be developed. Whilst like ZBrush, they might release a major release, and then like 3 months later there's another one because they are still driven by uh, development and not marketing. So to create, I want to start maybe just showing some little basic Houdini. And I mean, if you don't want to use Houdini, I have complete understanding. It's a bit technical, it's a bit weird to some, and but still, I mean, have it as orientation of what you can ask someone else to do if you're in a team. So I need to spend a little time here to show how to create assets here. Um, Grid is a plane. Um, Space is the navigation key. You can use Alt for most stuff too, but I mean the original key is space. So if you want to frame something and be sure not to do anything else, space F is the good. So the setup of Houdini is, if you use like Max, you have a modifier stack of things, and Houdini is like that, but it's a kind of free form, or like a two-dimensional stack. It's not just one-dimensional. So you can have things split and come back together and, whatever. So one really basic workflow in Houdini is to scatter stuff. You use points to as carriers of uh, data. So I scatter some points on here on this grid. It could be an object too, and let's do a sphere. And this is kind of the answer to the rock question. And Um, so and also I'm gonna make some glass, broken glass later. Um, this is a bunch of points. Cube. Make it a bit smaller. And copy to points is one of the go-to nodes. And I mean, as you go, I used Houdini for a little more than a year. I started using it like August last year. So I mean, it's not impossible to learn. Then I have lots of experience. So, but it's lots of nice tutorial, and they're really doing good. I mean, the lots of tutorials out, and yeah, I can post some resources if you're interested, for the ones that are interested. So here we have like kind of a uniform distribution of cubes, and the way to change these cubes, for instance, the size, this is kind of similar to the foliage painter thing, but you can apply it on an asset creation. The way you would change this is you would modify the attributes on the points here. So attributes in Houdini are um, kind of data or parameters, like same as a point have a transform, like a position. You can also add custom attributes, like one standard attribute is called p scale. So I'm gonna add that. Attribute create, put it here, and it's gonna be named p scale. That's There are a bunch of standard attributes that you will kind of learn. And this attribute create also has this kind of some basic randomization stuff built in. Um, so, or maybe you don't have to use the attribute randomize for that. Attribute randomize. Okay. P-scale. So here we got randomized stuff. Um, the cool thing about this is that if you decide that I don't want this QB look to the whole thing, I want a spherical look to it, then you, even if you made like an entire tree of events happening after this, for instance, uh, no, let's keep it simple. Let's just create a sphere here. Sphere. I'm gonna make it a polygon sphere, and I'm gonna make some more faces on it, and I connect that instead. And I'm also gonna change the scale to 0.2, or yeah. And now I have spheres instead. I mean, it's exactly the same scaling. Let's do a switch here so I can change it. The Y key is the kind of scissors thing. So, I mean, to make variants, this is really, really nice. And this guy appears. So now I decided to have I needed a spherical setup instead. I will switch to this. So I mean, this is the kind of the how you work in Houdini with stuff, and also just to show the flexibility of this system is that if you want this sphere back, the blue little thing here is the display, and that's very important because outside here in the kind of what they call the object context, uh, the what is blue will be what is exported from this network. So usually I put a null at the end called out, just to be super clear. And sometimes you can have different outputs that you pick up somewhere else. Um, So I want these guys on this sphere. I will just put in a merge node here. And as you can see, like the working with the nodes here is very developed. You can just shake it off and you can put it back in. It's very nice. Double click, no, alt click to add a reroute. And check it out here. Now I get the spheres on the sphere. W in this guy is wireframe and T is the transform key. That's my most usual like typo when I when I switch between ZBrush and Houdini and Unreal, for instance. Shift W is the wireframe. But this is a problem that's been around for a long time. If you want something to integrate into the actual high-res mesh, you don't want this sharp kind of polygon edge here. And how you do that in Houdini is you convert it to a volume. And there's a volume type called VDB, which is the most efficient. So VDB from polygons. Yeah. VDB from polygons. Put it in here. Have a look. And now it created quite a low res mesh from volume from it. This is called like SDF, which is the same as the distance field stuff you will see in your real-time applications, which is a type of volume that's efficient to store surface data in a different way than polygons. I'm not going to go into that, but SDF in Houdini is the same as distance field in Unreal. You can also create a volume if you like that, like a foggy. But voxel size is the resolution, so be careful. You will run out of memory when you play with this. But what happens now, let's see, middle mouse click is you get this info dialog and you use it a lot. So now we have like 1,190,000 voxels, which is quite a lot. And you can see the memory requirement is 12 megabytes. But I will make it smaller. And I mean, yeah, this looks good. Now we can even see the little, you can almost see the facets. You can see the facets on the spheres actually. So I will increase this guy to 5. And then it will recalculate my entire network down here. And when it's done, it will be high resolution spheres. And what I want to do this is I just want the small spheres to integrate with the large ones. So I mean that's the whole thing. Maybe do a SDF smooth maybe to get the kind of organic. Yeah, like this. That's what I want. And when I'm done with that, I will just convert it back to polygon. Convert VDB, put it here, and I will convert to polygons. And now I have a polygon mesh again. And this one is, of course, quite high res. So I will put a poly reduce on it. And still, Houdini has one thing it does not have is a good quad remesher. So if you want a good quad remesher, I still haven't found anything that is as good as C remesher in ZBrush. So I usually go there for that. And one problem with ZBrush is that it doesn't support like Python scripting or anything. So you, if you want to automate stuff in ZBrush, you need to write C script, which is I never took the time to learn. Um, and of course, I mean, this would be the workflow I would apply to creating a rock. I will make a little demo on. Um, I'll do some noise. How much polygons? Eh, yeah, I mean, we're still really high res here, but maybe maybe I would go to 50% and keep that, export that as my high res, and then probably go to ZBrush to make a nice quad remesh of this one, and then project onto that. But if I want to change something here, I will move up in my hierarchy because I don't want to recalculate all my volume stuff. So I will go here again. But say I want to, I don't want a perfect sphere here. I want something more deformed. There are two ways, at least, to put like programming or custom code in Houdini, and one is text, which is called Wrangle, Wrange, with an L, and the other one is the visual scripting, which is VOP, VOP. So the code is a bit intimidating for most people, so I will go with the, for noise stuff, the Point VOP is the preferred method, I would say. I will take these guys and plug them there. Oops. And I will call this guy noise and dive inside. So what you have here is a kind of different kind of network where you can modify um, or add any attributes or change anything. So position out here, like P position, if you just plug it into position here, nothing will happen. What we want to do is we want to modify this position, so we will create an add node here, and we want to put some noise in here. So the fast noise in Houdini is called AA noise, anti-alias noise, and that will be based on the position. So it will be a 3D noise input, and we will also change it to a 3D noise output, so it will offset the point position in 3D, and I will add that back in. So this is like the most simple. For me, I create a kind of a preset of this. This is like kind of the basic number one noise setup. Then you can go crazy with it. You can put a noise into the coordinate space and warp it, and you can do anything. But this is kind of the, I mean, if you want to make a noise in Houdini, this is the way. Frequency. I think you all probably on like different levels, but on like math or anything. But frequency is how many like waves are there in a certain measurement. So, and this is spatial. So, higher frequency would be a more dense noise, and lower frequency would be bigger waves. Like longer wave length is lower frequency, a higher frequency is shorter waves. So I will actually increase the resolution of this guy quite a bit. I will add a subdivide node here, subdivide, and there's a bunch of different algorithms. I will just use an open subdiv Catmull-Clark, and I will subdivide it 3 times to get this kind of, or maybe 5 times, to get this dense guy, or maybe 4 times. Go back into the noise. middle click is also this is also like one nice thing with Houdini. They know that sometimes you want like really huge numbers, and sometimes you want really small numbers. So holding down middle mouse button, you can modify values at different scales. So yeah, maybe do like a 0.2. So quite big. Uh, and to kind of slide over to the rock situation, I will just take these guys and copy them up. U is the up key, and I will create a new geometry node here. Put it next here. Call it rock variations. Go inside, and I will paste these guys here. And also I will do hide other objects. So for a rock, you might not want to start with a sphere. You might want to start with maybe a platonic solid, like a why not like dodecahedron or something. Platonic dodecahedron. And also in the subdivide you can increase the weight of the initial edges. And this I just noticed, but if the crease weight is the same as the iterations, it would be hard. So yeah. And of course, I mean, million ways to create some rocks. Maybe doing something like this, amplitude like that, and then polar reduce this guy back to something low like this, kind of flat, but oh, anyway, doesn't matter. It can be like this. Let's put the normal in here. So say that we're happy with this rock here. We could then kind of divide that again. A couple of times. Increase it. And do another noise on it. With a much smaller, much higher frequency actually. You can promote, if you want to dive into this guy all the time, you can middle click and promote these guys, which will make them move them out to the next level like this. So you get them down here instead. Frequency much higher, amplitude much lower. Another normal node. And also, of course, you could produce like an ambient occlusion and different kinds of masks. I think the key to making like really good assets is layers and like working, having a layered approach to like detail. So, I mean, maybe not suitable for this guy, but for instance, oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna divert too much. So layers in this aspect that I'm talking about now is that first of all have this like a big noise um, um, that kind of defines the kind of large shape character of the rock. And then I have this kind of medium size detail that will probably be still, you know, in the projected normal map, baked normal map and all that. And then I probably have like yet another level of detail that's only maybe like a learned the specular map or a roughness map or something, or and color map. And also using like variation on this. Um, okay, I'm gonna do an example on that kind of variation. Because this is true, for instance, if you ever looked at a lake, geometry, lake surf. I mean, of course, a lake would be an animated thing, but just to get the point across on different scales of like layers or scales of variation. See if I have the noise still. No. Let's make another one. Oh, no, let's go get it. So I mean, of course, just to finish the rock variations question, I mean, from this guy, you could easily export the quick export to FBX is called FBX ROP, which stands for render operator, and it's the FBX output, not the animation stuff. So this one would be called, I'll probably put a null here just because I like it. So like out rock a iris, and copy these guys, and this one will be game res, and there would be a poly reduce here, poly reduce. Maybe 10% or a lot less probably. Lot less, 0.5% maybe. Yeah, more like it. Even, I mean, could be even a lot, even less. But like since you have the automatic LOD system, you don't have to go super extreme. Make sure to put the normal on there, and you can have in Houdini, you can put the normals or any attribute on different levels. You have the points, which is the actual data points here, like one, and the vertices are the attributes to the faces. So this here would be a point in space, which is a 3D coordinate, and then each face has references to 3 points, and those references are actually what is called vertices. So you can have unique like normals to the vertices that are unique to this face if you have a hard normal, but the point will be the same in most cases. Um, that's kind of technical, but anyway. Normal and UV, and for um, I mean for UVs, I use different kinds. I mean, of course, I will start with the most easy kind of one-click solution. I have installed labs. Oh, whatever. But I mean, of course, this low res would need UVs. So this was the kind of example of the parallel workflow. I mean, you can have all of this included in the same node, and where you can easily output your high res and low res and your variations. Um, there are different ways. I mean, like the switches and all that. You can automate things to infinity, but just to make a variation here, again, switch. For another rock with the same style, let's do a icosahedron. Or maybe a tetrahedron. Huh, it looks exactly the same. Why? Because I don't switch. Yeah. So here, in like one click, I have a variation of that rock. It's not a perfect rock, of course, but I mean, it's to prove a point. Icosa. And there are ways, which I won't go into, to kind of automate this and make Houdini just, shit out 200 variations of rocks if you want that also. But that is is another discussion. Yeah, okay, I will actually go into the broken glass question. Broken glass grid, and for this, yeah, I can keep it like this. There's a fracturing method called Voronoi fracture, which is good for kind of this hard like broken glass kind of stuff, but that takes a surface input and a point input. So for one thing, I will create a box here that has the same dimensions kind of, but thickness compared to this grid here. And just to touch on another feature in Houdini, I can just take this like size X here, and I can copy that parameter, go into the box, and go into the size X here, and I will paste a relative reference. And since it's cubical, quad, I will just Y is up here, so I'll do it here. Paste relative. So then, if I change the size of this guy, it will update the box also. On the grid, I will scatter a few points depending on how small fractures I want. Fractures. Scatter. I don't want 1,000. I want maybe 100. And I don't want to. I want them to be kind of different sizes. And this relax does equalize the sizes. So I'll increase the point size. D is the display settings. Geometry, point size, make it kind of big. So here on the relax, on the scatter, if I don't have any relax, it will be very uneven. And if I do the relax, the more I do it, the more it will even out. So I will completely remove it. Or maybe I will have a small amount. Maybe like this. 1. Like that. Okay. That's my points. And now I get this guy and I do a Voronoi fracture. And I will input the points into the second input. And here I get my my broken pieces. Um, do, 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 do. So here you can see the different. I mean, maybe this one is not perfect for broken glass. Maybe I want some sharper edges, but there's a bunch of different patterns and noises you can use. But I will stick to this one. Also, I want to make it thinner, so I will size Y 0.2. Maybe this is a bit too thick. 0.1. Like that. What's the name of the explode? Is it explode? Yeah. So, exploded view. Have my pieces. Um, mm, mm, mm. Actually, how to export each one as a separate mesh. I'll see. Let's try this. Maybe I have to go back to the back to school for me. See, work local, FBX, broken glass, and I mean, of course, this is the high-res unoptimized version. I would probably like bake this to sheets or something. Save the disk. Go here. Make a folder just in case. Broken glass. Import broken glass. Don't combine meshes. No, I only got one piece. Okay. I will have to come back on how to export them as separate pieces. But what I want to show in here is a really cool feature, which is how to use physics simulation to create complex structures. So let's get our cube. Scale it down, frame it, and I will set the details, simulate physics, and what happens here if I do simulate, it will fall down. Actually fell through the ground, which was not what I expected, but I will put a plane here. I don't want to debug that now. Like that. So it falls down. If I would do this, I would actually create an object that spawned lots of these pieces in kind of random rotations and all that. But just to show this feature, and it's called Keep Simulation Changes, and you can use it as a base to create kind of piles of stuff and all that. So let's get all these. Let's simulate. they fall too nicely. What to do? Anyway, fuck it. I'll just show it anyway. So if you're in Simulate, you still have your mouse and everything like this. And what you can do is just select them all and right click and keep simulation changes. And then you stop the game. You have your cubes here. And you could, for instance, convert to static mesh, pile of stuff. Okay. And it didn't work. Okay. Let's do a merge actors first. Merge actors like this. And this one is quite important. If you're making, you can actually work and do like hand tracking and stuff in here, but then it's good to merge the materials because you will get one material slot for each actor. And also on that touches on a question here. Yeah, nice fracture. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah. Do 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 do. What was it? Um, no, I would not create UVs now. I would probably just use it as a high res and bake it to something like a simplified geometry. Uh, um, Sometimes never go full retard like that. Let's overwrite this guy, save it. Yes, merge actors. For some reason, it's not working, or it's huge or something. I probably grabbed something else, or en, två, tre, fyra, fem, sex. Merge actors. Yeah, yeah, I did something weird. Here it is anyway. So I mean, this example is they are too similar in shape to do a really nice job, but still, I mean, if you want to make a pile of books, bit random, just place them, do simulation, and it's a quite fun way to make piles of stuff. Um, and yeah, let's not divert too much. Yeah, all right. Attribute create and attribute VOP. The attribute VOP is a kind of limitless network. Attribute create is it just adds an attribute. I think I'll leave Houdini quite soon here and get back to Unreal. Let's have a quickie on the VOP again here. Uh, Noise. Yeah, I mean, so this is the VOP. It has this network where you can do like pretty much anything, and this is converted to Vex code, which is Houdini's internal language, which is really fast, super fast, a lot faster than most like script language like Mel or something like that. Yeah. No, I will leave this here. Um, do do do. Um, okay, particles. Yeah, I love particles too. Um, um, the new particle system, I'm not gonna kind of go deep on it now, but the new one is Niagara, or whatever it's called. And it's really good. It's a lot of fun. I used the old one too, called Cascade, but that feels really 90s. Um, uh, there are a bunch of good tutorials. I'll try to find some of the ones that I did and post them to you. Uh, Yeah, maybe just do. Did I do the simple like yeah, I did a simple blueprint. Um, okay, I got these questions. Um, Modular assets. Modular to me, I mean, it's a balance between where is the modularity. I mean, make stuff that can fit together, of course, but sometimes, I mean, you can make blueprints that use different pieces. You could do it in Houdini, but I mean, use equal sizes to stuff, and also think about, I mean, uh, yeah, just think about keeping the scale and size of stuff consistent or like multiples of each other. I'm not expert. I'm not doing much like space station or like building work. Um, and nowadays I used to work like pretty much like only in ZBrush and Houdini and Substance, but now I do most of my stuff in Houdini. So I put the modularity there. Um, on material optimizations, I know for a fact that using many materials on a mesh is it's not the efficient way to do it. It's rather bake the materials to one set of textures is the most efficient, I would say, in most cases. Um, yeah, Quixel Bridge. Okay. I mean, of course, it's big news that the entire Quixel suite is for free if using Unreal. So it's a shame not to use it. It's quite tricky to install. Uh, to me, it's always something goes wrong. And luckily, I have not installed it on this computer, so I will just go through installing Quixel Bridge and connecting it to a project. Quixel.com. You need, like you already have, I guess, an account. You can use Epic Games account. Um, like that. Products, bridge, download, save it, and install it. I think it's quite quick. Library path, I mean, this could be important if you have several drives. Sure. Export target, Unreal Engine, download the plugin. They actually changed the installation since I used it last time. Maybe it's better now. The default used to be 8K for everything in when you download it, which same as if you get the stuff from Marketplace, it's all like 8K, so like a couple of rocks is 12 gigabytes. Plugin location is um, the root directory of your Epic Games. No, it's the plugin of the engine. All right. Epic Games UE4 engine plugins. Select default project. Here. UE4. Select install plugin. Installed. Done. Sign in. And I mean, it's really cool to be able to use these high quality assets. It puts some extra pressure on your original assets, of course, to fit in. Because I mean, consistency in detail and style is I mean, very important for the overall scene feeling. Sometimes we have to reboot to get it to work, but I mean, of course, there are some really cool assets here and materials. And if you get an asset like this rock, for instance, and after, yeah, here's the, I mean, 2K definitely. Download settings, JPEG. Here you can get the high poly source or the C tool, and if you're gonna do like rework the assets, I would suggest to get the C tool or the high res to yeah, to work on that, and then do your own low res LODs. Download and export. It did not work. Usually you have to, at least for me, I have to restart the Unreal Engine for the plugin to work. Mars env. And I mean, play around with this guy. Why not? I mean, the issue would be that if you yeah, that I mean, keep the focus. I mean, at least design your environment around some cool hero asset that you make yourself. But I mean, it's completely fine, and even I encourage people to use final assets, because in a course like this, it's quite really hard to make the assets needed for a scene. But you can use also, I encourage people to try Mixer. I mean, if you're already familiar with Substance and use that, why not focus on that? But if not, try Mixer. It's a little different approach. It doesn't have the baking yet, I think, which is, I think, one of the best features of where Substance Painter really shines. Uh, but I think, I mean, since it's free, it's something to consider. Let's try again. Export. And it worked. And now it will show up here in my, yeah, so it takes a bit of time to import, and so don't do like 100 assets. Also for your own sake. Um, whoa. I mean, for some reason, I think this is really strange, but I mean, why not fix the scale? The It's a bit lazy, I would say. So, like you can see, I mean, it's not their finest. You can, if you want to use or like an adapt one of these assets for like a hero asset, you would have to work from the high poly source and make your own bakes. Um, yeah, I mean, mountain noise is really nice. Um, what? Uh, hello? I think my Teams crashed. Um, Anyway, what I did was I installed Quickset Bridge and exported a asset to Unreal. And getting the, I mean, just getting the plugin location correct and not doing maybe 8K. And also defining your default project, and then restarting Unreal, and then it works. All right, I will wrap up for today. Um, uh, do, do, do. Teams crash. All right. Do you have any final questions for today? And I wrote in the I will look at Canvas and make sure the exercise is, because the gray box is not a like, gradable assignment. It's just I want you to do it to get the uh, you know, it's a nice process. I mean, you could do anything, but I mean, it's nice to have at least try a few different processes. My way of doing it is try to get the whole thing there. And yeah, use mega scans all you can. But I mean, I would encourage you to. I mean, one easy thing, what I would do if I were in your shoes, I would use maybe if I were to do a forest environment, I would maybe do a hero asset that is not a rock. I would do a hero asset that's maybe a abandoned pyramid or space station or something that has complementary and not similar style to the assets, because mixing scanned assets with handmade assets, like a handmade rock next to a scanned rock, might be hard to match. And I mean, consistency in style is makes or breaks a scene sometimes. Um, all right, but I mean, I encourage you to use any means possible to create an inspiring and enchanting scene environment for your assignment. And like I said, I started writing on the assignment, the official assignment on Canvas, and I will try to get that finished today. But you know, tasks keep jumping on me, and sometimes I get caught up. Um, all right. Thanks for today, and I hope you learned something. Yeah, Friday is not an assignment, it's an exercise. Um, so don't worry too much about it. And it's just create a gray box scene. And I mean, if you make another one later, like you see, to me, I make a gray box in an hour, like I may half an hour or something. So don't you be a perfectionist when you do gray box. Have it as like throw things out uh, and look at it, place some lights and throw it away if you want to, and try another one. Canvas, yeah. I think I really not an expert in Canvas. I find it quite hard, confusing. But yeah, last course I had, it was I think everybody managed to, oh no, almost everybody managed to submit to Canvas. Um Maybe no, the assignment is not finished yet. I will try to write it out, but the assignment is for end of the course, which is 11th of December. That's the only like, kind of gradable assignment. For Friday is an exercise, which is to make a gray box environment. I will write this down for Friday. Exercise. Size. Is that the correct spelling? Post a pic of, or like a few pics. Gray box and all right, cool. See you Monday, or see you, but hear you at least, or whatever. All right, cool. Good luck with your work.